Manifestation is always instant. The moment something is fully accepted in imagination, it's done. Not later, not someday, not if the stars align. Right now. But here's the twist most people miss. The instant part isn't about waking up tomorrow in a mansion or having a text ping in the next minute. What's instant is the shift within. The click in consciousness. The deep knowing that what once felt like desire is now simply true. And once that shift happens, the outer world, what Neville calls the shadow, must rearrange to match. But if someone is only looking at the shadow and saying, it hasn't happened yet, they've missed the real moment manifestation occurred. There's something sacred about finally understanding this. When manifestation feels like a struggle, it's only because the outer world is being used as a measuring stick for what's real. But the 3D isn't the origin, it's the echo. It's the proof of what was once accepted internally. That's why Neville said the world is your self pushed out. Not the self that is imagined for 5 minutes a night, but the self that is believed in every silent second. If life keeps showing up with lack, rejection, or struggle, it's not a punishment. It's just a mirror reflecting a self-concept that hasn't changed yet. And the good news, the moment a new concept is assumed, the reflection must follow, whether it shows up tomorrow or 3 months later. The speed of the echo doesn't change the truth of the source. This is why so many people feel like they're doing everything right but still not seeing results. They say the affirmations, do the visualizations, maybe even script every morning, but deep inside, they're still waiting for the outer world to confirm the shift before they let themselves feel the shift. They're still watching the mirror, hoping the reflection will smile first before they do. But it never works that way. The reflection cannot precede the assumption. You have to become it internally first, completely, unapologetically, and without flinching. That's the real work. Not the performance of techniques, but the private choice to finally see yourself as someone new, someone worthy, someone chosen. Not because the world has voted you in, but because you finally did. And in those quiet moments when you catch yourself spiraling, when doubt creeps in, when you check the old version of reality and feel the sting of nothing has changed, you must remember that those moments are the test, not of your strength, but of your understanding. Will you reaffirm the old, just because it looks loud and familiar? Or will you sit with the discomfort of not seeing instant proof and still choose the new self anyway? That's where the power lies. Not in controlling the timing of the echo, but in holding steady as the new cause, regardless of what the mirror reflects back. It's not about being delusional. It's about being loyal. Loyal to the new identity you've chosen. Loyal to the version of you who no longer begs for love, approval, or security from the outside world, because they know they are the source of it all. That kind of loyalty builds weight, substance, gravity. And eventually, reality catches up, not because you forced it, but because you became too heavy with the truth for the echo to ignore. The world bends not for the one who hopes, but for the one who knows. And when you know who you are, the rest has no choice but to reflect it. So if the mirror is still showing you remnants of the past, don't panic. Don't rush. Let it show you what used to be, because now you know what's coming. You've changed the cause. You've planted the seed. The harvest is inevitable. The only question is, will you stay faithful to the garden when it still looks like dirt? Because if you do, you won't just see results. You'll become someone who no longer needs results to feel secure. And that is the real freedom. It's easy to fall into the loop. Saying affirmations, visualizing nightly, writing desires over and over, yet still feeling like nothing's changing. That quiet voice creeps in. Am I doing something wrong? Why doesn't this feel real? Why does this feel fake? But here's the truth that softens the grip of all that doubt. It only feels fake when belief hasn't dropped from the head into the bones. Doubt only exists when the imagination is questioned, when what's seen is believed more than what's known. But belief isn't something that arrives from outside. It's chosen again and again, until it becomes natural. What's chosen internally becomes what's lived externally. That's not magic, it's law. And that's the part most people miss. They wait to feel a surge of belief, a lightning strike of certainty, before allowing themselves to settle into the new story. But belief doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it tiptoes in quietly, disguised as repetition. It grows in the background as you continue to move through life, refusing to let the current circumstances dictate your inner world. That's the difference between waiting for a miracle and becoming the miracle. When you understand that belief is a discipline, not a gift, you stop measuring your progress by what you see and start measuring it by how you feel inside. The world responds not to effort, but to identity. And identity is crafted moment by moment, through the assumptions we refuse to put down, even when nothing around us confirms them yet. It's about embodying the new version of you before the evidence shows up. Not pretending, but practicing. And with every moment of practice, the belief gets stronger, the identity becomes more stable, and the echo in the outer world starts to shift, not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with who you truly are. Pause here. Look around. The current life, the emotions, the circumstances, they're not random. They are manifestations too, not always of conscious desire, but of unconscious belief, of what was accepted without questioning. That's the true power most people don't realize they hold. If something unwanted can show up because it was accepted in fear, then how much faster can something wanted appear when it's accepted in love? What's instant is the imprint, the inner stamp that says, "This is who I am now." That's the only part that ever mattered. The rest, the timing, the details, the bridge of events, is just the story consciousness tells itself on the way to what it already knows is true. It's easy to overlook this when things feel heavy. When the current reality reflects old stories, it can be tempting to chase, to react, to fix. But true creation doesn't happen in the reaction. It happens in the pause, the stillness between choosing and seeing. That's where the real shift begins. Because in that pause, when you don't fight what is, but instead choose who you are, you reclaim your authorship. You stop playing the role of someone stuck and start embodying the one who already moved beyond it. This is why inner work isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. The universe isn't responding to how much you try. It's responding to who you're being. Every assumption left unchallenged continues to echo. And every moment you interrupt the old with a new identity, you rewrite the signal you're sending. Not through force, but through alignment. The outer world can only follow the inner declaration. So declare it, gently, repeatedly, even when nothing has changed yet. Especially then, because that's when the seed is being watered, and that's when the roots take hold. Let's break this illusion once and for all. The delay isn't real. What's being called a delay is just the time it takes for a mind to stop looking for proof and start resting in truth. A state, once fully accepted, must express itself. The only reason it seems like nothing is happening is because attention is glued to the 3D, waiting, checking, refreshing, scrolling, hoping. That's not living from the end. That's living from the fear it might not happen. But the one who truly accepts a new identity doesn't look around for evidence. There's no tension, no panic, no testing, just peace. And ironically, it's that peace that allows everything to unfold with precision, speed, and certainty. It's a quiet kind of knowing, the kind that doesn't need to convince, doesn't need to beg, doesn't even need to talk about it. Because when something is real to you, when it has dropped into the body and become your new normal, you stop needing reassurance. You stop needing signs. You stop needing others to understand. You just live it. And that's when things move, not because you're watching them, but because you've stopped watching altogether. The moment you no longer need to see the change is the moment you've truly become the change. This is the subtle art of surrender, not giving up, but giving in. Letting go of resistance, of timelines, of needing it now. That's when life starts to reorganize. That's when people call it magic or coincidence, but it's not. It's law. The law responding with precision to the internal shift that no longer needs a stage to feel real. So if you're in the space between desire and manifestation, just know it's not a waiting room. It's a becoming room. And the more you rest in the new identity, the more seamless the unfolding becomes. It's not about visualizing better. It's not about perfect scripting or the right method. All techniques are bridges to one thing, a solid assumption. That's it. Neville didn't teach manifestation as effort. He taught it as assumption. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not pretend it, not hope for it, but move into it with conviction. That's why someone can script every day and still feel stuck, because if the inner dialogue says maybe one day, then that becomes the state. But the moment it changes to "it's mine now, it's who I am," something clicks. That's the moment of manifestation. The rest is just catching up. That's also why you can't fake it with words alone. The assumption isn't built in what you say, it's built in what you mean. It's in the energy beneath the words. You can say "I am wealthy" 100 times a day, but if your gut tightens every time you look at your bank account, what you're really assuming is lack. The universe isn't responding to affirmations, it's responding to identity. That deep, unshakable sense of "this is who I am now," even when the outer hasn't yet caught up. This is why assumption doesn't feel like struggle. It feels like coming home. It feels like peace. Not always excitement, sometimes just quiet, steady knowing. You no longer feel the urge to force or manipulate the outcome because you've already received it within. And once you receive it internally, the outer must yield. Not might, must. That's the law. So when it feels hard, when it feels like nothing's working, don't double down on the methods, go back to the root. Ask yourself what you're truly assuming. Shift that, and you shift everything. Trying to force the 3D to reflect something different before changing within is like begging a mirror to smile first. The world cannot outpace the state being lived in. And no, that doesn't mean there has to be fake positivity or blind delusion. It means there's a quiet, grounded choice to return, again and again, to the version of self who already has it. To feel the relief of already. Because from that space, the outer world becomes less of a test and more of a play. A stage where scenes shift not by effort, but by imagination. That's what Neville meant when he said the world is yourself pushed out. It was never about hustle, it was always about identity. This is the moment everything can change. Not because something new will appear tomorrow, but because everything needed to create a new tomorrow is already within. The awareness, the choice, the imagination, all available right now. And the second a new state is assumed, not just thought, but truly claimed, that is the moment of manifestation. Instant, immediate, done. And if it doesn't look like it yet, that's okay. It doesn't change the truth. Because once something is accepted in imagination, it's already real. That's not hope, that's law. And once this is seen, deeply, clearly, there's no more waiting. There's just being. Being the version who knows. Being the one who already has it. If this shifted something inside you, drop a comment below and say, it's already done. Let that be your declaration, your line in the sand. And watch how fast everything begins to reflect that truth. I will meet you with another video. Happy manifesting.